Hi, this is James Gorman Victoria here for book review. Today's book I'll be talking about today, George Orwell's 1984. This was first published in 1948 by Sector and Wahlberg. This is one of the most depressing and boring novels I've ever read, and I'm so glad that I read this thing in 2 days. As if I took my time with this book, I think I would just give up on it, as this is just really a depressing book. There's nothing uplifting about it. So if you're looking to start out, like, read some, like, interesting science fiction books, I would highly avoid this one, as this is not a book to start with. It's just, oh, I couldn't believe how depressing this was. And I read George Orwell's Animal Farm, which I enjoyed that, but this was just a really bad book. I did not like it, and I'll explain later on my review why I did enjoy this book and why you should just not read it. Period. It's just not good. This I should actually say this book isn't for everyone. That's what I should say. It's not for everyone. I think there are those who will not enjoy it, and maybe some who will. But I did not like this book at all. All right, on to review and spoiler alert, as well, giving away crucial details within the story. Plot: set in the dystopian future of London that's being controlled by a mysterious figure known as Big Brother, who runs the country with an iron fist. Those who worship Big Brother see him as a hero, while others see him as a dictator. Big Brother keeps a tight control on his citizens, on their thoughts, beliefs, their actions, and feelings with the thought police by monitoring them through telescreens, two-way TVs that act as a video camera with hidden microphones. Throughout the novel, it's stated that Big Brother is at war with different countries across the globe. Living in this hellish world is Winston Smith, who works at the Ministry of Truth, who edits historical records from the past. Winston is also a member of the Outer Party, a group of people who work in different sections for Big Brother. Despite being a member, Winston is against Big Brother and those who support him. He secretly writes in a diary in a rundown apartment where he stores food and alcohol. Winston uses this place since it only has one telescreen that's facing away from him, so the thought police can't see who it is, and writes his thoughts down on paper so they can't hear him. Before his shift, Winston describes the war happening that's being recorded and shown to the citizens. Wherever he goes, Winston sees posters of the haunting image of Big Brother with text below, each poster reading "Big Brother is watching you." Before his shift, Winston has to go through 2 Minutes Hate, which members of the party sit in a theater and watch propaganda films. Winston is uncomfortable sitting with everyone who is angry shout out and express their hate towards anything Big Brother wants them to, especially Emmanuel Goldstein, known as the enemy of the state. A once high-ranking member of the party till he betrayed Big Brother and was sentenced to be executed but escaped and is now running a resistance group called the Brotherhood, who is trying to overthrow Big Brother. At the end of the hate, the haunting image of Big Brother, along with his message staring at everyone, makes Winston feel very uneasy. Winston writes more in his diary, expressing his feelings, how badly he wants to love a woman, his views on Big Brother, and the death of his parents. While trying to learn more about the history of London from older people he finds at pubs since they were born before the revolution happened, Winston also witnesses the bloody war between the thought police and the Brotherhood, fighting in the streets and blowing up flats to weaken the resistance. One of the party members Winston strongly dislikes is Julia, who works at the fiction department. He envisions raping and murdering her, but refuses to engage in his sexual fantasies, fearing she is a member of the thought police. While eating lunch, Julie slips him a note which he later reads, "I love you." Confused by this, he meets her later on the day and wants to speak to him in private. He agrees, and on Sunday they meet in an abandoned area of London that isn't being watched. Julie states that she likes Winston and is also against Big Brother. Winston expresses how he first thought of her, but then tells Julie how he now loves her. The two have sex and both feel love for each other. They continue this forbidden sexual act for weeks. One day after finishing work, Winston finds O'Brien, another member of the party, waiting for him and wants to discuss a word he's used that isn't being used anymore, and wishes to give him a new edition of Newspeak Dictionary at his place. When Winston goes to visit O'Brien, he also finds Julia is waiting for him too. O'Brien reveals he too is against Big Brother and secretly working for Goldstein. He asks Winston and Julia if they are willing to risk their lives by joining the Brotherhood to overthrow Big Brother. O'Brien lays out a plan for the two of them to begin attacking the party. Later on, both of them read a book written by Goldstein which explains how the party came to power. However, both Winston and Julia are betrayed by O'Brien along with the shopkeeper, Mr. Charrington, who turn out to be thought police. He also reveals that there isn't a Brotherhood or Goldstein, and the book he gave him was written by him to fool their enemies. For several months, Winston is tortured and left starved and witnesses other prisoners being taken to Room 101 to break him down. Then is taken to Room 101 to face his worst fear ever, rats, by placing a cage around his head. Winston betrays Julia, wishing she was the one suffering, not him. O'Brien accepts his plea and is spared. After being released from prison while at a cafe, Winston finds Julia has also been released, but when he rushes over to her, they don't feel anything for each other, but still wish to be together. Winston learns to love Big Brother, having become a broken man. From the first page to the last is nothing but a bleak and very depressing story of a world with no hope for a better future. George Orwell creates a shocking tale of pain, misery, and suffering along with haunting images. And he ensures any hope you have for the main character of escaping this horrible nightmare never comes true and crushes your hopes and dreams till there isn't anything left. However, there isn't one thing I like about this novel. Read 1984 made me feel bored and mostly depressed having to see this dreadful world as there isn't anything to like about it. There are characters I despise within this novel, such as O'Brien, a real scumbag, Sim, who enjoys creating new words only to update the word again as he's very annoying, and of course Big Brother, the evil image that I wanted to see destroyed so badly. Winston was a pushover with hardly anything to like about him and would betray those he loved to save himself. During the second act of 1984, Winston and Julia are reading a book written by Goldstein explaining how the party came into power, when in fact it's nothing but nonsense. It doesn't explain anything, as the main characters believe this is the key to defeating Big Brother when it's clearly not. And the ending was very disappointing. So depressing as it's revealed there is no resistance or Goldstein was even a real person. It was created by Big Brother to fool the public and capture any traitors within the country. Lastly, Orwell never explains the war that's happening within the story and what the party or Big Brother's goal is for world domination. How does England function in the story, as it seems only factories and docks are the main source of work? Life is so bad, how does its citizens not commit suicide or rebel against Big Brother? And I dislike the name of England in 1984, which is called Airship One, which doesn't make any sense. That the country isn't flying, or even an airship for that fact, along with the stupid newspeak, which I felt was pointless to update words every month. 1984 is nothing but a bleak and depressing novel with nothing uplifting about it, nor do I have any desires to read it again. Overall, I don't recommend 1984 as it has nothing worth reading for and will leave nothing but bad images in your mind along with making you feel bored with it. I'm sure there are dozens of novels better than this one. Oh, I'm just glad to be done with this book. I did not enjoy it. I stayed up late to finish it and I was like, oh, this is just a really depressing book. As I said, I'm glad I read through it like within 2 days, because if I took my time with this thing, I would have just got halfway through it and say fuck it and just basically gave up on it, as I did not like it at all. And 1984 is a very bleak and dark novel. There is a part in it that just left a really kind of disturbing image in my mind, where early on in the book, Winston's going to this apartment where he lives, and there's this one woman he knows that has all these children, and they're all dressed up like the thought police and stuff. And then there's some that are like dressed up as like prisoners of war, and they're like all very like hyper and stuff. And then the woman explains to Winston that they get very restless when they don't see the live. They get very restless when they don't see the live hanging events, and I was like, live hanging events, as it's also explained later on in the book, how Big Brother likes to show public executions with live hangings as people get to watch this. And I'm like, what kind of sick fuck wants to show this kind of stuff like in the book? Oh, it's just it's a very bleak and dark novel, and there's nothing good about it. I was thinking maybe the main character joins the resistance, then tries to overthrow Big Brother. Nope, that doesn't happen. George Orwell just decides to basically write the most depressing thing he could come up with, and which is his last book. And a little funny part here. There's a part in the book later on where I saw it. Oh, here it is. On page 191, there's a part where Winston witnesses a woman prisoner being taken away, and she yells, "F bastards!" I'm like, "F bastards," and you can, I'll bring it in. Probably could, yeah, right there, you can see it. F bastards. I was like, I think I know what George Will was trying to say. What was he trying to say? Fuck bastards or fucking bastards? Probably the second one, fucking bastards. But either he couldn't put the word in, or the publisher is like, "Oh, that's way you're going way too far." But this bleak dark novel is just acceptable. I'm glad I'm done with this book, and I do not have no desire to read 1984 again. And it's just not a good book at all. Like I said, some may like it, others, like myself, did not enjoy it. It's just not. It's not the kind of book I would want to read again. All right. That's it for the review today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will begin reading my next book, The Sentinel. This is a really good book, and I'm looking forward to reading this book again. And I want to read this book because I got the movie that it's based on. But when I was reading the plot of the film, I remember some things that I don't remember in the book, and I was like, I don't recall the book having this in it, or one part of the film I read, the plot takes place in Canada. I thought, I don't recall this. Oh, I recall this taking place in, like, one part of it taking place in Canada. So I'll be reading this tonight. And after that, I will begin reading a bunch of new books. So if you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name, a place you post, share, and review fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.